Hello everyone, and welcome to this final video on Koivisto's opening repertoire. We're just having a look at a little bit of random stuff really that just occurred to me. So the first of those is 1b3, of course. Now we saw Komodo Dragon played something very sharp indeed, a very interesting piece sacrifice. Koivisto is a little bit quieter. b3 e5, bishop b2, knight c6 e3, and now not the most aggressive d5, but just plays knight f6, and after knight f3, e4, knight d4, takes bishop e7, c4 castles, bishop e2, c5. It's yeah, fairly decent for black. Knight c3, b6, can't take on e4 because of bishop takes a1. Castles, bishop b7, rook c1, g6, and black stands fairly well. d3 was played, takes, d5. But it's not half as exciting as what Komodo Dragon does, so do check that video if you want a really exciting line against 1b3. But this is just a very sensible and decent line, and yeah, it just ends in 0.01 evaluation, so yeah, nothing too thrilling there. I also wondered about 1f4. I was wondering, is black going to play the From Gambit or something like that? Actually, Koivisto just plays a reasonably quiet system that was also played by Alex Lenderman in 2021. Just plays knight f6, e3, e6, b3, bishop e7, so just waits for the moment, c5, bishop b2, castles, bishop e2, and then goes d5. Just commits the centre once it's got a clear idea about how white is actually going to develop. The line proceeds knight e5, knight fd7, d4, knight c6. We're in some sort of Zukertort Colle, although the light square bishop would normally be on d3 in that line, not on e2. Castles, and now a novelty, rook b8. And after takes, king h1, takes c5. Koivisto thinks that black's slightly better, minus 0.42. Yeah, nothing amazing, just a pretty quiet developing system really. Just yeah, playing bishop e7 and then later playing c5 and d5. So yeah, pretty simple play, nothing too scary there. Another interesting idea was c4 e5, and now all of the engines want to play g3. But if you make them play knight c3, that often leads to some changes. And a lot of my engines, I've seen Komodo Dragon keen on that, Stockfish as well, and also Stoveplace as well. And I've even seen AlphaZero do it. Goes for this system as white with e4, which I really think just promises white nothing at all. I just can't get my head around this system and why the engines are so keen about it. Koivisto doesn't want that system. It wants to play e3. Bishop b4, queen c2, which is a really old line actually, castles, knight d5, that was played by a lot of English players in the 1970s, and I remember facing it, I don't know, somewhere in 92 as well, so it's been around for a very long time. Rook e8. Now I mean, we have got there are ideas like queen f5 just to try and double up the f pawns. What Koivisto wants is knight g5, g6, takes, knight e4, queen e6, and then just plays a slightly different move to a correspondence game, which is bishop e2, bishop f8, castles, b6, d3, bishop b7, a3, knight d8, b4, and it's quite an intricate game really. Some sort of white's got a little bit more queenside space. Black's fine, but black's pieces are a little bit odd really, so I quite like this for white actually. It's just 0.08 for Koivisto, but actually looks a lot more promising than anything the other engines come up with. What else did I have? I had the good old e4, c5, d4. That's what I had. I had the Mora Gambit there, and well, yeah, what does Koivisto think? Again, it plays basically the same as Stockfish. So bishop c4, a6, castles, knight f6, and well, I've had bishop g5 in blitz games, but bishop f4 is what the engines want to play. And then e6, queen e2, Knight h5 from Koivisto, it's quite interesting. Bishop b3, bishop b7, bishop b3, bishop d7, rook d1, knight f6, bishop f4, and then you have to play e5 in the end. And this is a pretty typical Mora Gambit compensation. I mean, you know, white is a pawn down, but white's got the d5 square pretty heavily entrenched, not easy for black to create counterplay here. And yeah, a3 and now queen c7 is a slightly new move. h6 was played in a correspondence game that ended in a draw, and queen c7, rook c1, queen b8. Well, Koivisto thinks that white's got a slight disadvantage, minus 0.30, but yeah, nothing too amazing really, and it's yeah, big likelihood it's going to swap off into opposite coloured bishops, you know, with the bishop coming to g4, takes f3, and knight d4. You know, it's just seems like the Mora is you know, is surviving reasonably well. But I think, you know, it's just this, it's what we discussed in the videos on Komodo Dragon, that, you know, this sacrificing a central pawn, as long as you get, yeah, the open files, the mobility, and black isn't able to eject all of your pieces from the centre, as here, you know, because if black wants to get control of occupy e5, attack d4, black has to give something in return. So, yeah, if you've got that sort of situation, then yeah, I mean, often these positions are pretty decent compensation. We saw the same in the von Hennig-Schara Gambit with black. What else have we got? We've also got the Wing Gambit. I keep on mentioning it because, well, the Ginger GM, Simon Williams, and Richard Palace have brought out a book on it. Again, actually, Koivisto and Komodo Dragon have exactly the same reaction. So 3 knight f3 and then knight f6 hitting the e-pawn. e5 knight d5, a3 e6, takes, bishop takes. Doesn't look so amazing to me, but yeah, if both engines want it, then it's not bad. This bishop gets hit. We go bishop a3, and then rook b8 here. And well, this is the idea. I mean, basically, Koivisto wants to return the extra pawn, but there's all sorts of pressure, you know, against the pawn on e5 with knight f4 coming in. Might even have f6. It's not a great position for white, but yeah, I mean, minus 0.65 is what Koivisto said, which seems a little bit optimistic to me, but definitely a slight advantage for black there. What else do we have? Well, we also have maybe a last little look is knight f3, d5, g3, the Reti. And I was wondering what Koivisto would play. As we saw before, Koivisto's main line against knight f3 is to play some sort of Grunfeld type structure, which I found very interesting. If you give it d5 and then tell it g3, then actually it does the same as Komodo Dragon. It plays this e3 system against the King's Indian reversed, basically. So very careful to avoid playing knight c6, because then we could get into a reverse Grunfeld or a Catalan, which yeah, could be a little bit awkward for black. So e6, just to make sure that if c takes d4, knight d4, you can actually just play e5 and there's no knight takes c6 there. But c4, d4, e3, knight c6. I have played this position a lot. I've had quite a few games, and also quite a few games against my engines, and you can imagine which ones were successful and which ones were a little less successful. Very interesting position. Actually, Koivisto just simply doesn't even bother about keeping the bishop pair. Just aims just to give it back to white, and then just develop nicely. And well, there was a game of Barish Bullets against Lee. So the Ukrainian grandmaster, who's going for FIDE president, played a game, a3, a5, rook c1, b6, knight d2, e5, and then this typical break c5. And it was clear that black thought he was establishing control but didn't quite manage. Queen e2 is actually what Koivisto wants to play, which is not bad either. Rook d8, knight e5. You know, you're trying to stop the black pawn from advancing to e5 and, in a way, isolating this d pawn. But okay, I mean, it's not so amazing here, and yeah, you know, black is sort of all right. Although white's got, you know, absolutely no problems here. It's 0.27 for white, so a slight advantage. So there we are. That was just a little roundup of various stuff. I've been asked actually to have a look at a few more completely offbeat lines. So I will definitely do that. I would say one thing, that if you're interested in offbeat lines, do take a look at the TCEC on the viewer submitting opening bonuses, because there all of the lines that viewers find interesting, often lines that we couldn't use in the Sufi or in any of the books really, because they're too balanced. But that's where a lot of stuff gets tested, and I think a number of things that were mentioned, they've all got tried out there. So do take a look at those bonuses in the TCEC archive, and can either be downloaded in one file or each event individually. So do give that a little go. But there we are. Well, I hope you've enjoyed that. Slightly unusual engine, so maybe slightly different insights. I think in subsequent videos we're definitely going to have a look at Stockfish. Also going to have a little look at Stowflace, intrigued what the Morra Gambit of engines has to say about things, and at some stage, just to make Mr. Beads happy, I will definitely do Leela as well. Okay then, thanks very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed that, and hopefully see you for the next videos. Thanks for watching.